All right, so I already touched on this a little bit in previous video, but as we build the NOVAEO ecosystem, as we do everything, as we run the individual entities, what's going to be really imperative is that we radiate all this to the world. And so we're going to do that, of course, through social media and building like our own PR for NOVAEO as a brand. So its own website, its own YouTube channel, everything. And what we're going to be doing in this is we're going to be actually basically creating a portal for either young entrepreneurs or people that may have chosen a different path and work like the corporate grind and are just kind of like, I don't know, maybe even on the fence of leaving the corporate grind, or would just kind of like to live vicariously through us. We're going to create this portal where people can actually see the true transparent lifestyle back behind the scenes of the NOVAEO team members, especially the CEOs. So each particular entity will want to have content about what's going on. Like, what is the drama of the manufacturing facility right now? Whether it's getting like an FDA audit, or like we actually did just pass and get certified USDA organic. Like, basically create these like storylines that just continue daily, weekly, whatever, for every entity, so that people can get sucked into the drama and get sucked into the growth, and ultimately sucked into the culture of each of the small entities, the individual entities, and of course the NOVAEO ecosystem as a whole. So, and that's also where building the individual personal brands will also come in. It'd be great if every CEO is on board with doing some kind of selfie video, kind of like this, on like a weekly or monthly basis, just kind of talking about what's happened since the last selfie video. And ultimately, this is going to be all part of how we radiate. So it's going to be showing our trials and tribulations, not just the wins, but true transparency. I mean, the only thing that we won't be transparent about is we won't give away massive competitive advantage, of course, and we won't put ourselves in any kind of legal trouble. Other than that, true transparency. No need to like do the whole like rose-tinted glasses or whatever that is. No need to do any of it. Like, we can just be honest. We're going to be like this. You know what I mean? Well, more like this. It's going to grow, but on a sine wave, like a linear sine wave upward. So full transparency for the world to see. That's how people are going to get sucked into it. That's how people are going to see the genuineness of us. That's how people are going to trust us. And ultimately, what's going to be even like kind of like a byproduct of this is, now imagine that we've been doing this for a few years. We have a good following, all that stuff. Anytime we need help, whether it's recruiting CEOs or just recruiting, whatever team members to whatever individual entities, like, we can just blast our socials and probably find it. Say we run into a situation where, some mega issue happens. So like, NOVAEO recently, 2.5 years ago, right before the pandemic, had a mega issue happen. I mean, a mega issue happened. If we had this following that was like so supportive, we could have put it out there, and I bet people with money would have been available to help, with loans and whatnot. So, like, it's going to be magnificent. Really, it's going to be incredible. So, our main goal of this is to radiate out to the world to help the world. But by creating that transparency portal, the world will be able to help us too, whenever we need it, whenever we ask for it, or probably even when we don't ask for it. It can eventually get to the point where we can even just say, like, hey, anyone out there that thinks that they either currently own a business that would like to get acquired and become, a CEO of, the individual could become a CEO of their own entity, but within the NOVAEO ecosystem, or they feel that they could create an entity that would be really valuable to the NOVAEO ecosystem that doesn't currently exist. Like, we can help build ourselves that way. So it's definitely going to be huge. And that's going to be a huge part of this entire idea in itself, because this is how we're going to be communicating to the public. This is how we're going to be showing our hand. And this is how we're going to be building that bubble of positivity that, honestly, the existing power structures, as we get bigger and as we get noticed, they're not going to like it. And we're going to have to, really rally our followers, rally our supporters to help, ultimately defend us, is how I see it. And it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. It's going to be changing the world, honestly. The whole thing is, we're going to change the world. That's what's so incredible about this. And it's without a doubt in my mind that we're going to do it. No, I don't have every single idea and detail of what exactly the organizational structure is going to look like, or the culture and all that shit. But with enough of us high-powered thinkers, we're going to figure it out. We're going we're gonna try ideas and they're gonna suck, and we're gonna, you know, either tweak the idea or bail on it and try something else. You know, we're gonna evolve. This is an evolutionary thing. I mean, most notably, like, human beings aren't really evolved enough to have the perfect idealistic culture. You know, in my head, it's a decentralized culture where we don't actually have, you know, CEOs or anything. It's somehow we build this totally decentralized organizational structure. On paper, on theory, that's how I think it would be the absolute best, because when any one person gets too much power, things go awry. But ultimately, like, you know, can we decentralize even within my lifetime? Maybe not, because that requires human beings to be at an evolved level where they're not going to have jealousy and laziness and lots of these things that human beings currently have. But we can work towards it, right? So, whew, man, I'm stoked on this shit already. I love talking about this. Forgot a part. So ultimately what's going to end up happening, it's not that I believe that NOVAEO is going to take over the world or anything like that. What's going to happen is, as we build, as we validate ourselves by showing our success, as we radiate our positivity, our happiness, our growth at the individual level, growth at the collective level. I'm talking about growth as humans. Like, as we get all this out there, what's going to eventually happen is people will start making those kinds of demands from their current employers. And for the employers that actually start being like, okay, well, it seems like we got to do that, they're going to start being able to recruit and poach from their competitors. And eventually it's just going to become the norm, exactly what Google did. Now, obviously, you know, I'm talking about a much bigger change than Google's change. You know, not just like having slides and massages and food, something significantly more holistic to generate wellness and growth for every individual within the community. But ultimately, that's what's going to happen, is the common person is going to start being like, well, their business is successful, their people are happy, their people are growing and evolving at an incredible rate. And, you know, why can't you be like this, you know, employer? Or why can't you be like this market that I work in? And eventually that demand is going to create the shift. That's how it's all going to change. So NOVAEO just has to create it. We have to set the example. Then we have to radiate so that people can see us. And then from there, the people will do the rest. They will make the demands, and those people will ultimately be what drives the change in the world. It'll be those people that drive the change. It'll also be the young entrepreneurs. When I say young, I don't mean necessarily by age. I mean, like, you know, people that aren't currently set in their ways and, you know, are going to find us inspirational. So they will also create businesses that are built around our structure. We're going to definitely help any business or entrepreneur out there create their structure aligned with ours once we figure it out. You know, like I said, we gotta create this. We gotta evolve it. But that is going to be how we change the world.